It needs to be negotiated in the contract. It's not, it can't be a dead hard date, so.
Not
What
any
she
of-
said
she
makes-
wants to take all the days out?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone.
It should be in each contract, should be individual.
Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'll call to order the regular scheduled board meeting for the Village of Midlothian, Wednesday, August 9th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Roll call, please. Clerk Roscoe.
Trustee Burbett.
Here.
Trustee Cavaney.
Here.
Trustee Crowley.
Here.
Trustee Hilly.
Here.
Trustee Johnson.
Here.
Trustee Killily.
Here.
Mayor LaRue.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence for our fallen veterans. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. At this time, we have the pleasure of having school board member, school district 228, school board member Evelyn Gleason here to give us an update on Bremen High School.
Thank you to Mayor LaRue and the board for giving me this opportunity. We have a lot of things going on in District 228. One of our upcoming events that you may be interested in is we will be having another vaccine clinic. It's going to be held October 5th at Tinley Park High School and Hillcrest High School. There will be a variety of vaccines available, and this is in partnership with Jewel Osco, and there will be much more coming on this as it gets closer to the date. We also have a new format for our district newsletter. It has been mailed to all the homes in Midlothian and all the homes in the villages that we represent. Hopefully you got a copy of this. We expect to mail one of these out every summer to highlight what's happened during the school year. We're also planning next spring to bring back our senior lunches, which were very popular at Thanksgiving time up until COVID. So plans are underway to have that done again in the spring of '24. One of the products that we use at the district is called Paper. It's an online 24/7 tutoring program. We've had over 60% of our students have used this program. They've gotten 1,600 hours worth of tutoring. You know, if you get home from practice and you got a math problem and you just don't get it, you can go online and actually talk to a human being. It's not a robot or an AI or anything, and somebody that will work you through that. It's also an opportunity for kids to submit their college entrance essays and have them evaluated, or just any other kind of schoolwork. This year they're offering a couple of new things. One would be reading aloud, which if you've, especially would be helpful for their English learning, students that are learning English. And the other one, which I'm excited about, is an opportunity to evaluate what you want to be when you leave high school. So there will be a way to evaluate and look at what do you think you're interested in doing, and more importantly, it will tell you what coursework you should take, and it gives you a couple of real-world problems to work on. I think I want to be an architect. Well, this is something an architect would do. How do you like it? So a real experience for our students to have. We're very excited about this program, and actually our assistant superintendent, Corey Williams, is now working one-on-one with the company. They've been so impressed with her work and the usage that our students are getting. We've also had some input, some updates on our safety and security. As you know, last year we installed weapon. When you walk into school, they walk through a gateway that checks for any kind of metals. That's been very helpful. This year we're entering electronic locks, and they can, if there's any kind of problem in the school, they can just automatically lock down every classroom and every outside door in the building with one click. So we think this is important for the safety of our students and staff. Some capital improvements that we've had. Bremen has just completed their welding lab. We have over 400 students in the district taking welding classes. They've also enriched their exterior pole lighting with more LED lighting. Tinley Park has seal coated their parking lot and recarpeted their foyer. Oak Forest had a huge domestic water proposal done over the summer. They've also done seal coating at Oak Forest and repaired some concrete, and added a digital sign. Hillcrest has demoed an old Butler building that was under the bleachers, and they've replaced that with a 40-foot container that will hold some of these storage items. Under fiscal responsibility, I'm happy to say this is the 7th year that we have a balanced budget. And we anticipate having one this year, and we have $17 million in working cash reserves. Our bond rating is also AA3, even though we don't have any loans outstanding except the school construction grant. Another thing that our new public relations specialist has come up with is we have a new website and a new app, and I will give each one of you one of these. You can follow whatever you want to know about the district. If anybody wants to get this app, you just go to the App Store and punch in BHSD 228, and you can download the app to your phone. We also have all the different Twitter and Facebook accounts that you can also, these are listed on this sheet for you to have. And finally, just to mention again that our new public relations specialist, well, she was here last year, is Jasmine Shika, and I have some business cards for you if you need to contact her about anything. Thanks for listening.
So the welding is obviously going well. Is there any thoughts of doing any other type of trades?
We're really working on the whole trade. There's a big push in that direction, if you will. I know that the construction industry has been in. We have a site at the Oak Forest campus of South Suburban. At this point, it's almost totally 228 using that. A lot of these are kids that just didn't make it in the traditional classroom, and they are so happy to be there and graduating left and right. So there actually is a big push towards non-college, which it's almost like we're going back 30 years, but that's where it's going. So I think this paper thing where kids can go on and see, gee, do I like this or do I like that? It'll really be an opportunity for them. So they're pushing that. We've had the electrician union has been in. Kids go to that work, the place in Alsip where they have their training center. So yeah, working on it. Thanks.
Moving on, we have a couple swearing-ins tonight, so for our fire department. So we'll start with Brett Pekarsky. Is that correct?
You come up here, Brett.
Oh yeah, all the way up.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
Brett Pekarsky,
Having been appointed
having been appointed
to the position
to the position
of full-time probationary firefighter paramedic
of full-time probationary firefighter paramedic
in the village of Midlothian
in the village of Midlothian
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
aforesaid do solemnly swear
aforesaid do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the ordinances of the village of Midlothian,
and the ordinances of the village of Midlothian,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the position of probationary full-time firefighter paramedic
of probationary full-time firefighter paramedic
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right, next for swearing in, we have Matthew Hensler. Come up forward.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
I,
state your name.
Matthew Hensler,
Having been appointed
having been appointed
to the position of full-time probationary firefighter paramedic
to the position of full-time probationary firefighter paramedic
in the village of Midlothian
in the village of Midlothian
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
aforesaid do solemnly swear
aforesaid, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the ordinances of the village of Midlothian,
and the ordinances of the village of Midlothian,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the position
of the position
of probationary full-time firefighter paramedic
of the position of full-time probationary firefighter paramedic
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. You bet.
Welcome to both of you. Welcome aboard. We're pleased to have you. Thank you, guys. Good night. All right, we're going to move on with our meeting. At this time, I'll open the floor to public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? No public comment? Mr. Fuentes, I got your bag of birdseed over there for you. No problem. All right, then I will close the floor to public comment and move on to tonight's consent agenda. On tonight's consent agenda, number one, approval of ordinance 2126, an ordinance directing the sale of property owned by the Village of Midlothian located at 15207 Lawndale Avenue in Midlothian, Illinois, and an invitation to bid thereon. Number two, approval of the July 19th, 2023 committee meeting minutes. Number three, approval of the July 19th, 2023 closed session minutes. Number four, approval of the July 26th, 2023 board meeting minutes. And number five, approval of the list of bills. Is there any item any trustee would like off tonight's consent agenda? Hearing no dissension, I'm looking for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda as read.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please, Clerk Moskowitz.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Caveney.
Aye.
Trustee Burvett.
Aye.
Trustee Hilly.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to trustee business, trustee Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to remind everyone that on Sunday, we're going to have the community picnic. It's going to be from 1 to 5 in the afternoon at the gazebo. We have hot dogs and hamburgers. Originally, we were going to sell them, but an anonymous donor has willingly agreed to purchase the hot dogs and hamburgers, so we will give those away for free. We'll also have Three Sisters, which we've all enjoyed a couple months ago. They're going to be at the picnic selling ice cream. We're gonna have an entertainer there who's gonna do balloons and face painting and things. We also are gonna have water balloon toss, egg toss, three-legged toss, and if you win, you get a trophy. So we think it's gonna be a great time. We're gonna have a jump house, music. So if you don't have anything to do, stop on by, bring a picnic basket with goodies, and enjoy us for the afternoon. And that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Burback.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Hilly.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Caveney.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
First, I would like to discuss approval of the hiring the part-time health inspector. Do we need to review that during closed session or just for salary, or, because I did ask for closed session to discuss that. The person has been interviewed by Superintendent Witt and myself, and also by the mayor.
We should discuss that in closed session and come back out. Are you looking to approve it, hire tonight?
Yes,
Then we'll go to closed session and come back out.
okay, very good. I'll move on to my next item. That is the revision to ordinance 4-23, which is our registration of defaulted mortgage and vacant properties. Trustee Crowley had provided revisions to that ordinance. Copy of the ordinance is attached to board docs, and a copy of Trustee Crowley's list of suggested revisions is attached as well. So I wanted to bring that to the board so that we can review it, see if there's any other additional items that should be added. I am not sure, one of the last bullet point was for rent signs not to be allowed on the property. I don't know if we can legally prohibit that. Attorney Valadez.
I'll have to look into that. My initial reaction is that that's probably going to be problematic.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, the only other one that I see that is also problematic is compelling a property owner to shut off the utilities.
I
because-
believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they can contact the utilities, they can contact the gas company, and they can contact ComEd and advise them that the home is vacant and that under no circumstances should they put the utility in somebody else's name. So then can we change that to say that they need to show us proof that they contacted the utility company? Something I'm sure they've got to do something in writing. Should provide us with proof that they've contacted the utility company
And what would the purpose of contacting the utility company be?
to let the utility company know that the property is vacant and under no uncertain terms shall they change the put the utilities in somebody else's name. And
Yeah, we could do that. Just so you know that the utility companies are supposed to do that now, and the law requires them.
to do what now?
To not switch over utility without proper proof from the lawful account holder or owner of the property. But to the extent that, given that that's pretty much what their utilities are supposed to do anyway, we can put it in the ordinance to say that, for a vacant property, that they need to.
Can the village make them turn the water off?
I don't know that doing that is what is productive for our objectives, which is that, we're trying to keep squatters out of there. But at the same time, technically, the strict way that we've written the ordinance, someone who goes on a vacation for a long time, for the summer or something like that, they're gonna wanna have their utilities stay on. They could have security lights and security systems that are powered by the electricity. So, and plus the overall legal issue of compelling someone to turn off the utilities on their home.
So Nick, if you look, one of the bullet points says that, like, if we can't compel them to turn off the utilities so that it's not fit for occupancy, if the utility has to be left on, then we would require them to have security, like an alarm system, camera, surveillance, lights, that kind of stuff outside.
Can we force a property owner to do that?
It's gonna be iffy. Certainly, we can try. We can try. It's not so,
I took
out
that
there.
from another municipality. I
And
can
another
send you the
municipality might get
references.
sued too, but.
I'm just
but
saying.
Well,
I would say yes. we can.
I would take our chances of getting sued, because at this point, we need to stop, we need to do as much as we can to prohibit people
Sure.
from squatting. And the problem we have is that a lot of our registered rentals, especially, particularly, we don't have an issue so much with squatters in apartment buildings, but we do in single-family residences. And the problem is that the owners of these single-family residences are out of town. And they hire large companies like, what was that company yesterday, Sandy? First Key,
First
whatever, to manage the property. You call their customer service number, you get somebody offshore who's just typing, sending a note to somebody else. They're just pushing paper. And a lot of times it's very difficult to get the name and phone number of a local person here in Illinois or in the Chicago area to come and address a problem. We're gonna pass it along to our property maintenance people. Then their property maintenance people have to call their vendor that they've hired. Then their vendor calls their vendor. So we need to nip that in the bud. So,
I certainly can do the best that I can to structure all these things. And I think those are the only two that really we just can't do as is. Those are the only couple of issues that we may have to tweak to get in there. Obviously, we don't want to be in a situation in which the activity that we're trying to prevent is easier to enforce than the prohibitions that we're putting on the property owner to enforce it, if you can understand what I mean. That we would win on the activity that's going on, but we would lose on forcing someone to put up cameras. Because at the end of the day, all of these things, if the worst thing happens, that we have squatters, is gonna go to the circuit court. And in the circuit court of Markham, judges are gonna hold us to the absolute highest standard for these precautions.
Okay,
But-
can we force them, let me rephrase that. Can we require in our ordinance that they inspect the property weekly and send us a photograph proving that they've inspected the property weekly?
I think we can. I think we can.
It's on the list.
Yeah.
I know it's on the list. I'm asking him
Yeah.
if we can.
I think we
You
can.
know, so far he's told us everything that we can't do on the list. I want to make sure that there's things that we can't do.
Well, just those things, everything else. If I haven't mentioned it, I think we can do it.
I'm concerned about the utility thing. Pipes burst in the winter. I mean, the water would have to be shut off
Right.
and the house would be drained properly.
Well, right. I mean, they would have to winterize it then.
Well,
If
yeah,
they turned off the utilities, they can winterize the house, then there would be no problem and no
But if
worry
they're
about
showing
pipes
the
bursting.
house to
Yeah.
rent, you
Yeah.
would need
They
to
have a
prove
security
to the,
system.
you need to prove to the potential renter that
Mm-hmm.
the
stuff
mechanics
works,
work.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's what it, yeah.
And when we put this together, that was our thought, like if the utilities need to stay on, then at least make them have a camera system or lights that go on and things like that. I mean, we have to do something.
I'm
to protect
comfortable
our
in
residents.
writing it that way and see what happens. I think it's not that unreasonable, given that this is, pertaining to vacant properties. And I think it's a compelling interest to have them secured in a camera in modern, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when they weren't as common as they are now. It's not a difficult thing to do now.
The only thing, two things that I had was, one was 72 hours. If the vacancy is caused by a death, that's not doable. That's absolutely not. That's before, you gotta make it longer than that.
Well,
Now,
think about it though. We're talking specifically more about rentals here. We're not talking about a house that grandma lives in and she dies and her family is gonna be in and out of that house,
Right.
during that whole process.
well, the ordinance says this, if there's a vacancy, it's
Okay.
72
Well,
hours, flat.
the purpose of this is not for those situations. The purpose
Okay.
of this is
Well,
more
then-
geared towards rentals.
Well, then put something, yeah, I understand, and put something in there in case of.
I don't think the house is vacant until all their stuff is out and she's no longer the leaseholder and the property
Okay.
manager takes it back. I mean, she's still, if that's the scenario, she's still paid her rent up through the end of the month. The family still has to come in and clean it out. I mean, it's still in their possession, I would
Yeah,
assume.
certainly for a violation of these provisions, there is a paragraph in our vacant property ordinance that describes the evidence of
Right,
vacancy.
right.
And if if the hearing officer, and if the building department staff, if whoever's enforcing this, takes that into consideration, then that will be much more than 72 hours, because it could be vacant for weeks before the technical definition under the ordinance kicks in, and then it would be through 3
The
days.
furniture is still there and so on and so
Right.
forth. And the other thing was, the only thing I don't want us to do is, we have pretty good situation, I think, with rental properties, and that we have investors and we have other people who don't mind buying properties in Midlothian and renting them. We don't want to push it so far to the other side that they avoid us. Right now, we're pretty good, and I understand about the security, I really do, but there's other towns that aren't going to require this, and if it's between A and B, I want them
Well,
not to go to B.
I would prefer to have less rentals. I mean,
Well,
if
but
we could
that's
have
not
more
gonna
owner
happen.
occupants, that would be
Yeah.
great. But you know what, Don? These investors are in it to make money.
Right.
They're all in it to make money.
Right.
So if they can't ensure that their investment is safe
Yep.
and is being watched over and is being cared for, I mean, we had a situation yesterday, a rental home, the owner's in Macon, Georgia.
Right. Well, Sure,
out of town,
sure,
out of sight, out of mind.
sure.
And they're hiring this national management company, like I said, who, you know,
Right,
we're calling an offshore call center.
right. But having the property not owned and totally vacant is worse than having it where it's owned. I want to make sure, first of all, it's owned. There's a lot of towns that, we're in a lot better situation in a lot of towns. People want to buy our properties. They know it's a good environment. They know we're fair with them. I don't want to push the needle over on the other side where they would go to some other, why they would buy a property in other towns and avoid us. So, I mean, the security issue maybe can be worked out, but I don't want to make it so onerous that we're cutting off our nose.
I
to
want to
spite
make
our
it
face.
onerous enough that if they
Right.
know they've got a tenant leaving, they better start marketing that property. They
Right,
market the property
right.
right away and get another tenant in there.
Right,
And get another new tenant in there. We don't need a property to sit vacant
Right.
months at a time because they're dilly-dallying going through the process, because they're out of town and they're not paying attention to their
They give it to some other
property in
manager who doesn't
Midlothian.
care.
Exactly.
Well, and I think the key too is holding them accountable.
Right,
Like-
exactly.
Like, this isn't for people who are taking care of their buildings and doing the right thing, it's for where there's a problem.
right.
So, I mean,
Right.
that to me is the key to all of it, it's, you know, it's the buildings that are having problems, that managers are just giving people, anybody the code to go in and
Oh,
stuff
the
like
other
that.
thing is, we didn't put down about the code.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
No,
She
it's a
did.
lockbox.
Lockbox.
No more lock boxes, then you don't get a
Well,
code.
lockbox is a keyword, so there's a key on the building, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But we didn't put down about the digital lock. That's not in the,
Oh,
No more digital locks.
no more digital locks
No
either.
more
No,
digital
I
lock
mean,
boxes.
The digital locks are out too. And I know what you
The
gotta have
intent
somebody
is-
there to show it, whether it's a real estate
Yes,
person
that's the
or
whole-
whether it's somebody
Right.
from their company or
Yes.
whatever. it is.
viewers must be escorted by management.
Right,
Yep.
it has to be, yes.
That was the most ridiculous thing I heard yesterday, is
Yep.
that they're
Yeah.
giving it out.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You
So-
just
so
email
Nick-
and say, I want to go look at it, they give you the code, you just walk in and
Right.
change the locks and it's yours.
Right, so Attorney Valadez, that would be the second to the last bullet point. Lock boxes are forbidden and keyless entry. Keyless entries are forbidden.
We'll put that in.
Just to be clear, this is very high priority, so we get this done quick. How many hours did your police department spend yesterday?
Oh, about 3.5 by my count.
Half your board.
How many
Mm-hmm.
squads? So, high priority. Anything else on that topic?
Nope.
Okay. Do you have anything else tonight then?
No, just my, the
Closed session.
approval, the closed session, and then voting to approve the part-time health inspector.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Trustee Kiley.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Crowley.
The only thing I have tonight, sir, is just a reminder, we are having our Thunderbolts fundraiser for the CPSC committee. That is August 19th, and there still are some tickets available. They're $10, and as I've been saying all along, it is Elvis night and fireworks. How could it get better? That's all I have this evening, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. You gonna sing us a song, Elvis song?
Oh, not tonight.
Oh.
Maybe the week before the
All right,
event.
all right, move on to Department Heads, Chief Hotwagner.
I have nothing to say.
Thank you, sir. Chief Delaney.
Yes, sir, just one thing. Every year, the Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists recognizes officers throughout Illinois for their outstanding DUI enforcement, and they provide certificates of appreciation to those officers. So last year, 3 of our officers were recognized. Sergeant Matthew Kickert received an award, Officer Salvatore Calderio received an award, and former officer Zach Blanchard received an award, which will be forwarded on to him. So just wanted to recognize them publicly for their outstanding DUI enforcement. And that is all I have, sir.
So I think everyone knows, or most of you know, if you don't, the next gentleman on my list, Superintendent Witt, has decided to leave us. So I just want to take this moment to personally thank you for the time that you've given us. I told you earlier in the office, a breath of fresh air, and I think you'll leave us in a better spot than when you got here. So thank you for everything you've done, and don't be a stranger.
Don't plan to be a stranger. Right before the start of the meeting, Trustee Crowley was trying to coerce me into not leaving. And I told her that this is probably the hardest position out of maybe 12 or more places that I've worked in my career. That it's probably the hardest to leave because you've made me feel like I'm at home. But that also means it's a place to come back. So I'm going to take you up on that at some point. So Mayor, I'd like to publicly thank you for the opportunity to serve in the position Superintendent of Buildings. To me, my time here has been much shorter than I really anticipated it would be, but I leave with a lot of fond memories. It's been my distinct pleasure and honor to have worked with such a great group here that I've come to know and love, many of them that I call dear friends. And I would like to especially call out and thank Trustee Cavaney for her passionate support of the building department. So I thank you all for all your support for me. I wish you the best in the future, and at some point in time, I will be back. Thank you.
Nothing else? Thank you, sir. Superintendent Sperry.
Just wanted to inform the residents that the Springfield School expansion project is going to be getting underway probably in another week or so. They're supposed to close down 146th Street, just east of the alley behind McDonald's and KFC. So you'll still be able to access those two businesses, but you won't be able to go east on 146th from Pulaski to Springfield. This may be a permanent closure, right?
Maybe.
So we're going to try to get signage out there tomorrow or the next day. I kind of informed the architects or the designers, and they were informing their contractors to get as much signage around the area as possible, as soon as possible, because they just sprung it on me today that they wanted to do this, I think, next Wednesday. And then I'll try to get something on the village website the next 2 days. Maybe I can get a rendering that we can put on there. I don't know if anything's been put on there. But yeah, I think we got to inform these folks that live in the neighborhood for sure. I mean, it's going to really change their path, in and out of the subdivision. And that's all I have.
Thank you,
Joe,
sir.
will you send it to me and I'll put it in the newsletter too?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Engineer Plata.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to update the board on the Jolly Homes project, which we haven't heard about since my presentation in April. The engineering on the project is now complete. I've been scrambling to get the whole thing done in these last few months. But other than that, we also had a very positive call today with our wetlands consultant and the Nature Conservancy, which is the organization that owns the property next to the school where we're planning on building a regional detention pond. And also the Illinois Nature Preserves Commission. Both these agencies don't really need to be involved, but it's good to get them involved early on. And they are both very excited about the project, and they reacted very positively when we gave them the whole rundown. And they also even offered to maintain it in the event that we actually do build it, which would be huge for the Public Works Department and the school district not having to do that. And so this is going to look really good on construction applications when we go out and try to get funding on this. It's kind of a big deal, to be honest. Very positive development, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Clerk Harris.
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Director Redmond.
No reports tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Attorney Valdez.
It will be the village's action and intention to finally get the entire employees of the village on the same payroll plan, which is the best practice traditionally engaged in by every municipality and every employer for hundreds of years, which is that you work 2 weeks and then you get paid. And hopefully we'll be finish that off for the next pay period. And we will be all set. So, thank you for all the help from Finance Director, everyone else who contributed, Trustee Crowley, helping explain why we were doing it to the various unions and employees so that we can get it done without any disruption. That's it.
Thank you, sir. I have no report tonight. Clerk Mosco?
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employee of the public body.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are in closed session. There will be action following closed session. Thank you all. closed session. Trustee Caveney has a motion to make.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion that the board approve the hiring of Bob Gregg in the position of part-time health inspector at the salary discussed in closed session.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please, Clerk Musk.
Trustee Caveney.
Aye.
Trustee Crowley.
Aye.
Trustee Burbett.
Aye.
Trustee Hilly.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Can you disclose the salary that was discussed in closed session?
Pardon me?
You don't have to disclose the salary that we discussed. in closed
Oh, the
session.
salary that was disclosed and agreed upon was at the rate of $27 an hour for part-time.
Now
Good? All right. And that's it? All right, seeing as no further business coming for the board, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.